Hey guys, welcome back to Manufacturing Talks. I'm Jim Vinosky, your host. I got Benny Bueller here today. It's going to be a great show. He is with a startup software company. It is called Uptool, and their focus is on American machine shops and making them better. Benny is here to tell us how they're going to go about that, and I'm excited because we're all about improvements and American manufacturing. So we are off to the races. Benny will be with us in just a few seconds, so stay tuned here on Manufacturing Talks.
Welcome to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vinosky. Industry has a million cool stories, and Jim talks to the movers and shakers who are making them happen. Let's dive in.
Hey, Benny, welcome to Manufacturing Talks. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. Very happy to be here.
I'm glad to have you here. We're going to dive into some really cool stuff, I know. Before we do, let's dig into your background a little bit. So before Uptool, you had a startup and company called Bello 3D, right?
Mm-hmm. True.
So tell me a little bit about that, and then tell me, how did that kind of flow into what we're doing today?
Yeah, so in Velo 3D, I started a company that did metal additive manufacturing, so industrial additive manufacturing for metal parts, focused on aerospace. The big idea was we wanted to enable a manufacturing technology that would allow people to do the most complex parts that they can imagine, that the things they really want to make without being limited in their design freedom. Velo 3D has become quite successful company, the largest metal additive company in the US.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It had some really phenomenal customers and kind of a really good impact on its customers, a lot of success in the space industry. The company started in 2014, and I left it almost 10 years after that, at the end of 2023, and then started together with my co-founder, Alex, Uptool.
Which is a very different animal.
Totally different animal. It's the first company in my career that is not kind of a hardware physical product company. I'm a physicist by background. It's kind of my nature to make things that move physical. But Alex and I both spent about the last 10 years in the business of advanced manufacturing technologies to make physical parts. And both of us realized that there is a massive opportunity in this space, because a lot of the people that we saw that were trying to get into new advanced manufacturing technologies, they did that because their existing supply chains and procurement process and manufacturing processes were broken. They didn't necessarily.
Let me jump in here and ask.
Yep.
Had you experienced that yourself?
Yeah, totally. So when I was in Velo 3D, we spent a lot of time with our customers in the sales process, in the customer support process, trying to help customers be successful with our technology. And we saw a lot of parts people coming to us to make, and the vast majority of those parts had no business with additive manufacturing. They didn't need additive manufacturing. Additive manufacturing was not the lowest manufacturing cost solution for them. It wasn't necessarily faster, but they had problems with their existing processes. And they hoped that additive manufacturing can solve all those problems for them.
Interesting. Yep.
And so
you and Alex brought your real world experience into software for industry.
Right. Exactly right.
Which I think is phenomenal. I've seen it too. I've seen what you described with things not working, of kind of legacy software solutions. And I've seen where there are a lot of players out there offering into this new version of support for industry, where, you know, the old days you'd buy an ERP or an MRS and it was going to solve all your problems, and I think that's where a lot of the the heartache came from, is, you know, it was only a partial solution and people got stuck with them for years and years. And now it's more of these tailored solutions that are in tighter verticals. But it seems to me there are a lot of people getting in who don't have the background that you and Alex have. Is that being too critical?
No, it's if you're a software entrepreneur, there is a playbook of looking for all kinds of verticals that are lagging in adopting of software,
Yep.
and then basically saying, okay, how about we solve these problems for these guys, right?
Yep.
So it's natural, and you see a lot of people doing this. Both Alex and I came from this world where we both served those machine shops. We sold equipment to people making parts, but we also consumed parts for the vast majority of our career. So we also were customers of them. So we kind of know both sides of those businesses. The truth to be told, we actually never ever were a machine shop ourselves, right? So neither of Alex actually never worked in a machine shop per se. Well, we worked very closely with them on both sides of being suppliers and customers, and I think this gives depth to what we do that a lot of people don't have. I also think that one of the things that we recognized very early is that machine shops generally don't like software. They don't like software. They don't like software companies. They don't like software salespeople. So there is this very deep skepticism that we kind of looked at that as an opportunity. And we looked at that as, how can we be a different software company that overcomes this fundamental challenge?
Is the attitude you just described arising from machine shops being founded and staffed by people who are hands-on and more into the machinery world, and therefore just naturally dubious of the software tech side? Or is it because of what we just talked about around some of the past experiences with software that didn't quite work right?
I think it's yes and yes and yes, right? So it's the people, right? So the nature of the people, that they are more like no-nonsense, let's get the job done type of people. Hardworking, very kind of physical oriented. There is the bad experience you had with previous software, but there is also the last aspect, which is very generic and very human, which is when you have an understaffed organizations where the owner is carrying million hats and they're responsible for everything, it's very difficult for them to find the time to think and to stop and think and invest and learn. They just need to get things done. They're living in the here and now. So it's very difficult to adopt software in this world.
So there's another element to that I learned recently, and that's around investment and even selling a company, where if the owner is that essential to the business and that involved in every facet of what makes the business tick, it actually will scare away people from putting money in to expand the business or from purchasing the business, because they fear that the wheels come off if this guy gets either overwhelmed or walks out the door, because he is the glue holding everything together and everything's riding on his shoulders. If you grow it or you buy it, now you're upsetting that apple cart. So you're not only providing a software solution for the business itself, you're also providing this organizational tool that businesses need to grow.
Yeah, this is 100% true, right? So we see that with a lot of businesses where the owners are so hardworking and so focused and so like the critical path for so many things
Yeah.
that very often they prioritize the urgent over things that are needed for them to grow the business.
Sure.
And
It's how they started and pretty much all they've
Right.
ever known, right?
Right, totally. Yep, exactly right.
So let's dive into some detail. Tell me more about what it is Uptool does and why you're the right solution for doing that.
Sure. So what Uptool does is, so kind of, I'll start with a high level and then I'll go a little tactical. So
Fair enough.
we want to provide a family of solutions for machine shops to help them become an order of magnitude faster, more responsive to their customers, and 3 times codename more productive with the footprint of people and equipment that they have to get out more output, to get more revenue, but tremendously improve the latency at which they can provide services to their customers, the delays. We started with the first part of this, which is the quoting product. And the quoting product addresses the bottleneck of, I am a customer, I want to get parts from you, I send you an RFQ, and now you are drowning in papers and you have to do all kinds of menial stuff in order to answer that. Most of the stuff is actually can be totally automated and can be done very quickly. There are things that only you can do. So what we are doing is we're basically taking this request for quotes and we are translating them to very systemic estimates that we already are about 95% pre-filling, requiring very little touches from machine shops, allowing them to respond much faster and allowing them to be very precise, very consistent, and very documented in what they did, having everything in one place. But the most important thing, and we didn't realize it at the beginning, it allows them to, because they respond faster, they actually win more of these RFQs that they bid on, and they get more RFQs because they signal to their customers, we are open for business, we can be collaborative with you, we can respond quicker. Yeah. So they get more opportunities, they win more business. So it's literally translating to demand top line.
Yeah, and I've seen countless times online where one of the complaints of the customers of machine shops is they go for an RFQ and it takes forever in America, where if they take it overseas, it can turn around much more quickly. So that's something of when we talk about reshoring and reindustrialization, something we'll have to tackle anyway, right?
100%. And what we're just doing is the first step in that. You want to respond quickly in providing the RFQ, but the next step and we already are kind of planning the foundations of the software to do that. We want to help our machine shops in other aspects of the automation in their processes, so that they can actually procure the material faster, produce faster, and return the parts faster to their customers. And in this way, actually provide a leading edge that you cannot get from overseas suppliers. Be faster for a change.
I like that. Yeah, let's not just mimic what they've done, but let's make it one better.
Yeah, definitely. I really want to make it better.
Now, how much of your current product is employing AI? Actually, I'm going to stop there. I'll have a follow-up question to that.
Yeah, so the product is really built on AI. So there are 2 things that we basically wanted to do that we couldn't do before, 4 years ago or 3 years ago. The first thing is people send machine shops very unstructured, very diverse input data with a lot of typos, a lot of conflicts, a lot of missing information. So you need to do with that, and you need to do the maximum you can with that, and to be the most systematic and to make the most of this data. So the first thing that we do is we use AI in reading all this data, understanding the context of that, and creating complete requests for quotes and estimate templates from that are almost filled. And the second thing that we use the AI for is the problem of how do we get this beautiful software to become so simple and so smart that a user can learn how to use it in an hour. So we basically get into a shop. We connect them, we connect their email. I didn't tell you that, but that's one of the beautiful things. It's literally working with your email. It reads your email, it writes back to your email. It's kind of working with you on that, but it actually doesn't wait you to be near your computer to already get it, process it. So when you get to that, it's like, okay, here it is. It's already 90% done. Let's just do this and this, and you send it. But the beauty of this is the big thing that AI enabled us is to build a system that on one hand is so smart, but on the other hand, we use its intelligence so that the user can very quickly, in about half an hour, once we start onboarding them, we get to the point where we already are working on their first quote.
Wow.
And while they're working on their first quote through the system, we're already customizing their choices so that as we finish that, they do a second quote. By the time they do the second quote, they already are faster within this first hour than how they did it manually. And to me, that part is really, really critical.
Oh, that's huge. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when we talk about that element of the hesitance and dislike being because of bad experience in the past, and you think about the launches of big ERPs and what those take, I mean, you're talking about a whole different story there.
There is something that I don't think we invented it, but I never heard it from someone else. I'll be shocked if we invented it, but I've never heard it from someone else. Okay.
Yep.
And the concept we kind of reinvented, call it, is we call it payback time on invested time. So it's not payback time on money, which is usually what people think about payback time. It's I'm going to put, as the owner, as my team, so many hours in learning the software, in adapting that. Maybe it's weeks, maybe it's months, right? Depending on what you're doing. When am I going to get productivity gains that will give me my time back? When is this time that I'll get through productivity improvements? The time that I invested in adopting the software, and we're talking with the supplier and preparing that back. And for a lot of the software packages in the past, this time was measured in quarters or years. If you ever did a big ERP implementation in a corporate, this number actually, if it ever not infinite, it's years, maybe decades.
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to when do you get your time back?
Yep.
Because the effort that goes into implementing that is so monstrous in terms of hours. It's like it really will get you a lot of time before.
That is brilliant.
In our case, you get the time back either on the same day or the day after.
Yep. Brilliant concept on just the front end, because like you said, just getting to an implementation of an old ERP was months and months of work by countless people. But then what I'm hearing too is the business process you establish is freeing up the owners and his associates' time going forward. And I know that's another piece of that small machine shop owners and leaders miss out all the time, is the value of their own time.
100%. 100%. And a lot of them get that. They value their time. They understand that, particularly the shops that are very busy. They just don't have really good options to free their time.
Yep.
So, and in particular, when the options that you have to free your time involve investing more of your time for a good few months before you'll see your time released, it's like, that's not really helpful. I don't have this time to invest. So like when we talk with shops and when we work with shops, we see amazing shops and shop owners that would be amazing candidates to grow their business, buy more machines, hire more people, get more jobs done for customers. But for that, we need to free their time so that they can actually do all those things. So the beauty of this is we get them more demand, we free their time, they can get the machine shop to be faster, we'll get them more software that they can get their machine shop to get even faster, even more responsive. Those businesses will grow.
And you're creating a repeating virtuous circle there, right?
100%.
Excellent. So my follow-up question from my previous AI question is this. I mean, even for those of us kind of on the sidelines and watching this happen, AI seems to change by the day. So how does someone in your shoes manage that? How do you incorporate AI that is growing and changing and improving so rapidly into a product that you have to have out there in real time?
So, a lot of companies will tell you that. A lot of software companies will tell you that. We are surrounded by AI, living with it, right? So AI is embedded in our manufacturing, in our development process, and our software is literally kind of built on AI, and as we use it, our assumptions on what the software can do and how intelligent it can be change every month, because as you realize, oh, AI can do that too, and AI can do that too. So because AI is so deep in what we do, it becomes very easy as the AI models become more intelligent and more capable to add that too.
Is your model software as a service?
Yeah. So our software is 100% available on the cloud. We operate on AWS. In fact, we build it so that it's ITAR compliant, operating from AWS GovCloud with AI models that are running in AWS GovCloud in a way that is completely secure, completely compliant with the government regulations on this. So whether you are an ITAR, defense sensitive company, or whether you're a corporation that cares about your data, we run in the most secure conditions in the cloud.
Yeah.
And the beauty of that is we push updates 2, 3,
and that's
4
really
times a day.
where I was leading with that question, because another thing I've seen a couple times recently is people complaining about the SaaS model and saying, well, geez, now I don't own anything, I'm just renting it, this is horrible. But then as you answered that question about AI, it's really going to be self-defeating to buy a fixed software package now, because things change so fast. Isn't that true?
Oh my God, since change. And I had a few machine shop owners that basically tried to explain to me, it's like, look, I don't want to pay for software as a service. I want to pay once, and I know that I don't have any more expenses. And it's like, I don't believe in this model of subscription. And I'm basically explaining, it's like, look, no matter how much you're happy with what we build on day one, there's so much more that we are adding. And as we are learning and we're working with customers, the software becomes so much more valuable. You really want those things. And the flip side of that is, with a monthly contract of a few $100s a month, you can any moment just say, Uptool, I'm done. There is this new guy across the block that is doing something more cool. Switch to this, which is like part of the risk that we take, that someday you'll switch and you'll take everything with you. But I kind of see that also as an opportunity. That just puts us at a very high sense of urgency to keep developing the software and make it better and more useful to customers. And that's a big part of what people are paying for.
Yeah, and that's an excellent point, because the same people who will complain about the software as a service model will also complain about how they got locked into either an ERP or an MES, and how much they hated that. So
yeah,
exactly how you can eat it too, right?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a very elegant business model. It helps everyone. I really believe that it helps everyone. It's like, you're not happy, just go do something else.
Yeah, and I mean, just sitting here and listening to you talk about how you develop, it's almost unavoidable now.
Yeah, and imagine that I wanted to do it something else. So I would run on our own models on the premise or something, and then what? a few months later, there are so much more powerful models, and how do you get access to them?
Yeah. Right.
So it's like, if you want access to those models, you have to run in the cloud. So if it's almost like, look, we are connected to the email, we are connected to real-time databases, right? Prices and all that. It's like, it almost doesn't make sense to even consider that to be something that will not be directed to the cloud. It's like it's really the only way to do this properly.
Yeah. As you look at where things are headed and you look at your particular direction with Uptool, what are the kind of next big opportunities that you're looking at?
So the first thing that we are working on that is really critical for us is we want to help our customers get a complete picture of their full interactions with their customers. Right now, we started with, this is your RFQs and your quotes, but what comes immediately after is, these are the orders that I have. This is the backlog. These are the orders that I'm close to missing. So we actually are at the point that we can provide to the customer a tool on a daily basis to prioritize and manage what they need to do and raise flags. It's like, okay, these are the problems that are coming. It's also a tool to basically look and review your relationship with your customers and say, these are customers that I have good work with, good job. These are customers that I did a lot of quotes, but I didn't get any business with. Maybe I should catch a conversation with them and see what's going on there. So we can this is coming. This is very close. We'll launch very, very soon. What is coming beyond that is we are evaluating a good few things, but we are thinking very seriously about how we can use the same technologies that we do to help our customers automate their procurement. Right? A job comes in, you need to buy stuff. Like a lot of those stuff, we know what it is. You want to do a competitive quote, we can help you doing this so that you actually buy competitive. You don't have to buy just because you are short on resources without even comparing options. So these are all things that we can do.
That one's really fascinating. So automating that whole kind of sourcing, procurement, and
so there is a lot that we are looking into automating in the manufacturing floor itself. And again, when I say automation, there are a lot of things that we are not going to do in front of you, but what we want instead of you. But what we want people to do is, there's work that needs to be done to make the parts, and then there is information flow. The information flow has to be completely automated, and the information flow has to be integrated with the decisions people have to make, so that people can make the right decisions. So
that's very well put. Okay, we are getting down to the end of our time. Any final thoughts, things that people ought to know about Uptool and what you guys have going on before we wrap up?
So Uptool has now tens of customers, growing very quickly. We just started selling to customers only a few months ago. We have been almost a year in beta with quite a few customers. Most of those customers converted and are now paying customers. The customers we work with see a very significant uptick in their orders that they're getting. They see increase in win rate and more RFQs. This is very easy to learn. It's unbelievably fast. And we are here to make machine shops successful. And we are here to make machine shops in the United States turn the tide and start growing. So I'm very happy with what we have done now and looking to expand the business.
Well, we here at Manufacturing Talks are all about American manufacturing. So you are preaching to the choir, or as someone else put it on a show just a few episodes ago, preaching to the preacher. So we definitely love that message. Benny Bueller, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much, Jim. It was a pleasure.
All right, so long.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
That was fun. That one, I learned about the company. I hope you did too. And I think they're doing really cool stuff. But it was so much fun also learning about kind of the current state of software for manufacturing and the development and how AI is playing such a critical role, and really figuring stuff out, things people complain about that, maybe they shouldn't be complaining about, and the opportunities. It was just really a neat peek behind the curtain, and I wish Uptool and Benny and Alex all the luck in the world. Like I said at the end, they're preaching to the preacher when it comes to supporting American manufacturing and reshoring and reindustrialization. We are all about that here at Manufacturing Talks. So off to the races, guys. Geez, I don't know what we're doing next week. It's going to be a great show. I know that. And so we will be here next Tuesday. We're here every Tuesday. Tune in. We'll have a great show for you about manufacturing. In the meantime, I'm Jim Vinosky, Manufacturing Talks, signing off. See ya.
Thanks for tuning in to Manufacturing Talks with Jim Vinosky. Watch for new episodes dropping every Tuesday. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe.